Hi, everyone. Thanks again for carving out some time for yourselves, for healthy movement and breathing, taking time for some self-care and self-awareness. Just like we started last week, if you just look around really quick and make sure that you're in a safe space, right? No cords or cats or dogs or books around you. I'm going to do that because as I look, I have stuff around. I think what we're going to do today is just move, a little slowly, pay a little closer attention to being grounded and working with our authentic breathing. So last week we had some questions come in around breathing, and I thought this week we would just take time just to learn a little more about what it feels like to have our own just very natural, rhythmic, authentic, spontaneous breath. If you work from a chair, I'm going to move out of the way. I have a chair back there, so I will be doing part of it from a chair, but whenever I'm in the chair, I will also give alternatives for you to do stuff down on the mat. I got feedback that it's hard for some of us to get up and down that quickly, so I'm going to try and modify some things so that we're all taken care of and we can all do practice together, okay? So starting, right, either in a really comfortable seated shape. If you prefer to lie back in constructive rest pose, that's lying on your back with your knees bent, your arms comfortable to your side. I'm going to stay right where I am for a little bit, and then I'll transition in a little bit back to my mat and into the chair. So we're going to just take a little bit of time here to find a supportive shape. And then feeling your shape. Take some moments, take some time. You might use your body, right, as some focus, as an anchor for your attention and your awareness. And that very gentle reminder, we're all unique individuals. And so each one of us is going to have a very unique experience. What you feel in your body when we use our bodies as an anchor, each one of us is going to have a different experience. And so with curiosity, with kindness, with warmth and compassion, it's allowing ourselves to notice our bodies, and noticing how your body feels with connection to the ground beneath you. If you're in a chair, the chair connects right through the cushions, through the floor, into the ground. If you're sitting on a cushion or on your mat, if you're lying down, just giving ourselves a moment to connect to the earth. Kindness, and curiosity, slowing down. If your mind is wandering, that is what minds do. Some point you might notice that your mind has wandered away from your body. And again, it's an opportunity for practice. Mind coming back to your body. Blending your breathing. What does it feel like? What is your experience in this moment when you take an inhale? When you take an exhale? Warmth and kindness, curiosity, feeling our bodies breathing. Returning to your body. How does your body feel in connection with the earth beneath you? Our bodies connecting with the earth, providing a gateway for grounding. Taking a few moments, defining what it might feel like to be a little more grounded in your physical body. Physical body, a gateway for your breathing. Allowing your body to breathe for you. Mind eventually slowing down to follow the breath through the body. Slowing down. We can practice the art of patience. Being patient with curiosity and warmth. Kindness, compassionate breathing. And as we're all here in different locations, knowing that we're connected through our breathing, each one of us taking an inhale and an exhale. Together, breathing in community. We'll take the next full minute in silence, just allowing ourselves a little more inward curiosity to body, to breath, softening, breathing, noticing. And as we're all here breathing together, bringing gentle curiosity to your exhale. Just going to take a few more exhales. And a gentle, easy, full commitment exhale. Letting the tail end of your breath lead to some stillness, to a small pause. Spontaneous inhale arises. Gentle, full commitment exhale. Again, all the way. You feel the tail end of your exhale to the pause. Spontaneous inhale. And then here with your next two exhales, you feel your second exhale. We'll just slide your hands up onto your lower ribs. Okay, so I'm going to transition back into the chair. And you can feel free to stay lying on your back. If you're on your back, if you wanted to come up and stand, you could stand. Right? Or if you're in seated, staying in seated. You're just going to let your hands come onto your lower rib area. And you could be a little more in the front, or you could take your hands out a little more to the sides. You can let your elbows just rest down. If your elbows are a little heavier, you might let your shoulders rest down out of your ears. And then pausing again with curiosity to come into your hands to feel the ribs. What do your ribs do when you take an inhale? What do your ribs do when you take an exhale? So breathing in, feeling, connecting. Breathing out, feeling, connecting. And if you're curious and you have a big question mark, that's really great because that helps keep the awareness in our bodies. We stay embodied through that curiosity. So that authentic, natural movement here through the ribs. When we inhale, that expansion, the ribs broaden. When we exhale, the ribs draw down and knit, right, or blend together. So 2 more breaths here. Inhaling, expansion. Exhale, ribs drawing down, blending, knitting. And then with your next exhale, when you feel your exhale, if you're in the chair, you can bring your hands to your knees. If you prefer to come onto your backs, then you can come down onto your back, all right? So if you're coming onto your back, right, you're gonna have your knees bent. Okay. And then you can bring your knees up over your hips and your arms up towards the ceiling and bending your elbows. So following your breath here on your back, we're going to exhale, take all the limbs up, and inhale, bend. Okay. We're going to do 3, 4, 5 of these on your back. I'm going to move up to the chair to give the people in a chair, right, a modification. or a different progression, all right? So if you're on the floor, you're gonna keep following your breath, lifting and lowering, bending and straightening. And if you're here in the chair, you're gonna inhale, maybe lift up through the left leg, lower down, and then move over to the right. Hands gently on your knees. All of us together, we follow the breathing. So the breath leads the pose. Let's do about 4 more. And when you feel right, maybe 4 or 5, so you feel even, you'll lower all the limbs back down. Okay, and then on your back or in your chair, we'll pause. If it's helpful, you can bring your hands back to your lower ribs. Pause to come back with curiosity, warmth and compassion, and feel 3 breaths. With your next exhale, if you're on the floor, taking all the limbs back up towards the ceiling. So I'm going to go back to the floor. All the limbs coming up, bending at your knees, bending at your elbows. Similar idea, but now it's contralateral, right arm, left leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. So if you're on the floor, you're going to follow this pattern. Right? Feeling the movement connecting into your body, the connecting movements from your breath. If you're seated, right, really similar. Right arm's gonna come up, left leg's gonna lift. Gonna go up and down, side to side. Now, if you're in the chair and lifting your legs a little too much, you can just lift your heel. Maybe just lift your forearm, okay? So we'll all move separately, get connected by our breathing. We'll do a few more. If you're tired, if you feel you're losing control, right? That's a really good indication to slow down and stop and come back to a place, right? Either on your back or in your chair of breathing. Good. Following maybe 2 or 3 more. Just feeling kind of sort of even, right? You've done enough side to side. And then we'll let all the limbs, right, come down. Reconnect to grounding. Reconnecting, feeling our bodies with curiosity and warmth, with compassion. How does it feel in your body right now when you take 2 or 3 breaths? Full exhale. For those of us on the floor, we're going to roll all the way over and come all the way on up to standing. You're sitting in your chair, you can take your feet wide. If you're standing, you're going to take your feet wide and just let your arms hang. So each one of us is going to have a different width here of our legs, all right? So if you go really, really, really wide, that might be a little too much for your groin, okay? So there's like no one way be all where your legs are going to be. So we really want to find that. So we're going to take a little bit of time so we can all explore, right? How wide are our legs going to be, right? And then the question came in last week about our hips, right? So we want our knees, right, to be a little more over the middle toes. So, right, your feet might be in a little more, your feet might be a little wider, okay? So we always want to take the time to really set up the conditions, right, for a comfortable, strong shape, right, for a comfortable, strong pose, okay? And the same is true if you're sitting down, right? So if you have your feet really wide, that's pulling on my inner groin. I'm going to bring my legs in, okay? So when you have that set, right, if you're standing, similar to last week, we're going to exhale, go down, and inhale, come up. And follow your breath. You're going to continue that if you want to sit, right, in your chair. You're just going to lift a heel and bring it down with your breathing. It's going to take a little more embodiment, a little more focus to follow the breath. So breath and then a movement. Don't worry, you could inhale, lift, exhale, lower, right? If you lose, right, the pattern, just keep breathing. Let's do 5 more. Great, and then after 5 more, right, if you're in your chair, you can bring your feet together, right? If you're standing, you can bring your feet together. We're going to take a 5 breath meditation break. So short, meaningful connection back to grounding, back to breathing. Follow your next exhale. Good. If you're standing, we're going to step your feet out again. You'll take your left leg in a little bit and your right leg out. Okay. Hands can come up to your pelvis, or if you want a little different challenge today, hands can come back up into the sides of the ribs. Right? And we're just going to pause here for a moment. Okay, and we're going to check back in and feel that connection to the breath through the side ribs. Okay, if you're sitting, right, you can take your feet wide, okay, and just feel the feet on the ground. Feel the connection again through the side of your ribs. 3 more breaths. Full exhale. Okay. So if you were standing, right, and you got a little wobbly in your legs, you can always rest. You can always sit down. Okay. I'm going to exhale. If you're standing, let your right knee bend. You're going to hang out right there. If you're sitting, you're just going to keep your legs, right, nice and wide. 2 more breaths right here. Using muscle memory of that feeling of the breath through your ribs, let your hands come down into your hip creases. So right where your pants crease up. If you're standing, your right knee is going to bend a little bit, okay? And maybe your right knee just bends like a little bit, right? Some of us have been doing yoga a little longer. We might have a little more flexibility, a little more strength through the knee. We might be bending quite a bit, okay? But wherever you are, right, a little bend or a lot of bend, right, we want to make sure we have about the same amount of weight on this back left leg, okay? So if you're coming way out like this is more like 60% out here and 40% out back here. It's really not fair to this knee. So we're going to come and find a little more equal weight. So let's take a little bit of time to shift that around. And that can also be explored, right, in your chair. Sometimes you might be sitting a little heavier on one side, right? I notice I do this a lot, and my poor left leg is feeling left out. So you might feel a little more equal weight through both feet and through both sit bones, okay? So we're gonna figure that out. Bring your hands up into your hip creases. We're gonna follow what we did last week, okay? You're gonna tip at your pelvis, okay? So we're gonna try not to move your spine a whole lot or even move your neck or your head. We're gonna try and move, right, more from your hip tipping. We're just gonna slide down and slide up a few times. This is what it looks like in the chair. Same idea. Sliding and coming up. So as we move here, right, try not to drop your head, right? Try to keep your head, right, in line with your neck, in line with your shoulders. That's going to require a little more control from what we define as your core. Good, 2 more. Sweet, and then come on up and switch sides. All right, so right leg will come in and left leg will go out. You can have a little bend, you can have this leg kind of straight, right? You might have a bigger bend. Have that awareness though, that you're not losing grounding in your back right leg. Okay? Belly button's gonna be a little bit at a diagonal. Left hand in your left hip. Tipping and coming up. Right? For some of us, the challenge is gonna be not going with the head first. Right? So letting your head be last. Good. Remember, you can do this sitting in the chair. Sliding down and coming up. Good. Let's try 3 more. And then we'll come all the way up. Okay. If you're standing, straightening your left leg, bringing your hands back into your hips. One more time. Left leg will roll in. Right leg will roll out. Okay. If you're in your chair, you're just going to sit with wide legs. This time, we encourage our hands to come up onto those lower ribs and reconnect with curiosity and warmth, kindness. Inhale and exhale. Good. Then from here, if you want a little more challenge, deciding how much you want to bend your knee. If you want more challenge, we work in progression. Maybe starting to tip over, keeping your left hand right where it is on the lower rib and your right elbow coming down. Right? You can find your side angle. If you're in the chair, same idea. Right? We're going to come over. We're all going to pause. Feel, see if you can connect 2 breaths into your left hand. With your next exhale, releasing and coming all the way on up, nice and strong. Good. If you're standing, right leg rolls in, left leg rolls out. Take your time. Set your base. Bend your left knee as much as you need, as little as you need. Then when you're ready, tipping, stopping where you need. Elbow can come to the knee, right? If that's a little too much, you can put your hand there. Right hand on that right rib. Feel, notice with curiosity your body breathing into your hand. Okay, remembering you can do this down here in the chair. 3 breaths. Full exhale and come all the way back up. Okay, if you're in the chair, right, you're just going to keep your feet wide. Heels can be in, toes can be out. Okay. Now, if you're standing, you can bring your feet a little more parallel. Okay. Little bend in your knees. So we just want to be Mindful, we're not locking out the knees. Sometimes that's our automatic kind of stance. So just being, you know, aware of that. And then we're gonna find those hip creases again, right? So here's what it's gonna look like if you're standing, right? If you're real tight through your low back and down through like your butt into your hamstrings, most likely bending your knees is gonna be helpful. Hands are gonna be in your hip creases, right? And you can take the heel of your hand right here, and we're just gonna trace down your thigh bone and tip over, and then come back up, okay? So, right, we're all really different. You might tip this much. You might start to tip a little more, bringing your armpits, bringing your chest forward and coming up, okay? So incrementally feeling what you feel when you go forward into flexion, feeling the whole journey back up, right? Sometimes we just blow through transitions, right? So can we pause to feel what's happening when we go forward, all the way forward, right? The whole journey forward. What do you feel the whole journey back? And you probably guessed, right? If you're on your chair, same idea. What do you feel as you go forward? What do you feel when you come back? Right? With curiosity, being open, being kind to what we feel. We'll do 2 more. And then after 2 more, we'll come on up. And then if you're standing, you'll step your feet together. Good, and you'll walk to the back of your mat. If you're sitting, just gonna hang out in your chair and take a couple of breaths. So we're gonna do like half a sun salutation, right? And you can definitely do this in the chair too. So I'll demo it standing up, and then I'll demo it in the chair, all right? So soft bend in your knees, okay? A little different, we're gonna bring your hands back up so we can connect to that feeling through the ribs. Take a couple of breaths. Good, and then just let your arms hang down. Okay, stand right here. If you're sitting, sit right here. Just like the ribs expand on the inhale, we're gonna let the arms go out. And as you exhale the ribs net, we're gonna let the arms float back down by your side. Okay, so standing or sitting, feel the breath first. Good, let's try 2 more. Great. Then when you're ready, if you want, you can inhale, the arms come a little higher. And then you're gonna exhale, take them all the way on up. If you're standing, pause. Right? I invite you to take your arms a little more out in front of you. And let your shoulders and your neck have some spatial awareness. Right? Check in with your jaw and your eyes. And then we're going to bend your knees and exhale, we'll fold forward. If you're in your chair, you can fold forward. You do not have to touch the floor. If you don't touch the floor, it doesn't mean you're not good at yoga. It just means you don't touch the floor. You might bring your hands up onto your thigh bones, okay? Take a couple moments and see if you can find the back of your ribs. Where in the back of the ribs in your body? So you're using a little bit of logic, a little bit of mind. And then feeling tone. What's the feeling tone here with curiosity and warmth as you take a few breaths into the back of your ribs? You're in your chair, you can still fold forward. With your next exhale, let all the breath out. You're standing, right? We're all working differently. So you can come down and maybe walk your hands forward If you're used to downward facing dog, step your feet back. Bend your knees, maybe take a downward facing dog. If down dog's way too much for your wrists, your hands, you can come down to your knees. You can press back to child's pose, right? If you're in your chair here, right, you can just come down onto your forearms, join the palms, pause and take 3 breaths. So maybe downward facing dog or child's pose, or in your chair with your forearms and your palms together. Good. And if you're in down dog, exhaling, letting your knees come down. And then we'll all, right, roll onto our backs or just stay sitting in our chairs. Okay? So you can roll all the way back onto your back. Bend your knees. Just let your arms relax again down by your sides. Right? If you're in your chair and you feel you want to sit back in your chair, right, and use the back to help support you, go for it. And then returning to stability, returning to how you define grounding. Curiosity again, an embodiment being in your body. Defining grounding, just spending 3 to 5 breaths. Seeking that place of anchor, of support. Using your body as an anchor. Coming back, checking back in with yourself. Maybe noticing the tone of your voice. And asking yourself, how do I feel right now? Again, with kindness, with compassion, with curiosity, feeling the tones of your breath. Settling, if you feel safe and supported. Maybe you practice letting go a little bit into the earth. Just allowing the earth to hold you up just a little more. We'll take the last part of class to do a meaningful, brief body scan. So allowing your body to find a supported shape. Maybe that's leaning back in your chair and straightening your legs out. Maybe that's taking a full body stretch. You might find your Shavasana shape. Just pausing for a moment to find and feel what shape is supportive to you right now. Bringing awareness to your body. Starting down in your feet. Just notice your feet. How do your feet connect to the earth? If your feet could breathe, what would that feel like? Drawing awareness from the feet through the legs. Connecting and feeling your legs. All the way into your pelvis. Back of the pelvis, the sides of the pelvis, the front of your pelvis. Blending the feeling of your pelvis with your low belly and your low back. Being curious as you breathe, the residue, the feelings of the breath here. There's no need to change. Opening here to the present breath, the present experience. Drawing your awareness up into the rib cage, to the lungs, to your heart. Gentle reminder, front of the lungs, the sides of the lungs, and including the back body, lungs and ribs and heart. What would it feel like if your heart could exhale? Noticing your shoulders and your neck, your arms, your fingers. And the awareness of the back of the skull. Your whole body breathing. With curiosity and kindness, gentleness, we'll take the last couple of minutes here in silence, giving yourself an opportunity to listen and hear your body breathe. Using your practice of awareness, just noticing where your mind is. And with compassion and kindness, allowing your mind to come back into your body. We'll take a few longer breaths here. Let's take 2 nice, full, long, easy, light breaths. And when you feel that next exhale, just starting some really simple, easy movements, maybe wiggling your fingers and your toes. You might draw your knees in, you might do a full body stretch. And then we'll slowly roll all the way over to the easiest side. We'll come all the way on up to sitting. If you'd like to join your hands, just pause for a moment as you join your hands. And just give yourself a moment to set an intention for the rest of your day. Breathing your intention in and breathing your intention out. Thank you all so very, very much for joining us again this week. Thanks for taking care of yourself. If you want to stick around for Q&A, feel free to do that. Thank you so much. Namaste.